Alex Bertoncini with his rug deck.
And just for all you listeners at home, it's worth noting, there's almost nobody here today. Obviously, it's super early in the morning, so we can't really talk about what's in the players' hands very well. We don't want to accidentally give anything away. That'd be really, really bad for obvious reasons. So we'll mostly be commentating on the board state. So keep your eyes peeled to what's going on at home and fill in the blanks on your own. I was talking to Alex before the event started, and he feels like this is a pretty good matchup for him, but he also noted that he hasn't had very much success winning his good matchups lately. He can only win his bad matchups.
As we saw him do yesterday in the quarterfinals against his worst matchup, Mono Red.
Yeah.
He won that match in what felt like 10 minutes. The whole 2 games, 2-0.
Yeah, it was insane. He won super fast, and out of the 4 rug players in the top 8, all of them have said the deck I don't want to play against, the deck that's my worst matchup, like I probably can't beat, is the Mono Red deck. Everyone felt in the top 8 like maybe Mono Red was well positioned to win, and then Alex just took it down. The Mono Red player had one draw that didn't really come together, and then the second draw, Alex just had all the answers.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where you don't expect. I guess you don't expect the match to go so well for the player who thinks he has a bad matchup, and he just had exactly what he needed. For those of you curious as to what Kibler's listening to, his song for the tournament is Kanye West, "All of the Lights." So he tends to pick a song for every tournament. It's always interesting to hear which song he picks.
Oh my God!
Listens to it up until the match actually starts. So.
It's kind of funny because actually at one point yesterday, someone was like, "Hey, can you?"
Guys are having a really good time over there, getting ready to play.
Isn't it amazing? So we're here, crack it on. People don't want to be up ahead, really, obviously. I mean,
that would be a body part.
And for a lot of money, there's a lot of open series points on the line. This is a huge match. Everyone's just being jovial, kidding around, like it just happens every day. And this is really what I think puts people on this level, is the ability to just play constantly without getting in those mental locks of how they're doing. We talked to Kibler several times yesterday, and every time it'd be like, all right, Kibler, X amount of rounds make top 8, X amount of rounds, X, Y, Z.
With a blurred picture.
And then at one point he was like, don't tell me how many more rounds, don't tell me how many more rounds, I'm just going to keep winning till they tell me to stop.
Yeah, and that's what he's done.
He's done a great job.
So it looks like they're going to line up for the coin toss. Oh, wait, no, this is a picture, I think, yeah.
Right, that's fair. Yeah, I thought they were going to all shake hands or something there for a second.
They're going to do the coin toss right now. So they got their picture.
All right, they got their picture, and now it's time to battle. This is such an exciting matchup, and there's so many interesting dynamics. I don't know if we... I guess we don't have the deck list in front of us, but we saw them enough times yesterday that we have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah,
I mean, we know most of the cards in Kibler's deck. We know most of the cards in Bertoncini's deck. Actually, are the deck lists live? They're probably just live, right?
You know what? Let me double check,
sure
because I believe they are. Let's see.
Yep.
No, just the profiles for the moment. Yeah, I was going to say, because I wondered if the players were able to, if the players were actually able to look at their opponent's deck lists. Although, Alex Bertoncini can easily see Kibler's deck list from his videos, and Kibler, I think, probably has a good idea of what Bertoncini's playing. I think everybody knows what each other is playing for the most part. Whether or not they have it down cold as far as what 75 cards specifically are in the deck, I think they've got a rough idea.
Yeah, I mean, for those who do want Kibler's deck list, all you have to do, go look at his premium article from this week, check out his videos, and just cut one Journey to Nowhere in the sideboard, put in one Slime Blast Angel. That's 75 cards. A lot of people might be like, oh, well, he's writing about this deck, he's just doing it to bluff us, or talk about something he doesn't care about. Nope. And Brian Kibler walks by telling us he needs his phone charged. So we are plugging in his phone to the equipment here.
Good thing I brought my iPod charger again.
Secretly, I think he's trying to hijack the system so he can see his opponent's hands.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Seems likely.
Let's get Kibler some juice here.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to need it if he wants to have Kanye playing for the Legacy Open, too.
That's right.
Back there, I mean, these things are the draft challenges. Yeah, you can lose, but it's
Are you a rap fan, Joey? Did you listen to Kanye's new album?
I'm not a huge fan of Kanye. Not that I dislike him. I'm just I just don't listen too much. I respect him and I like some of what I've heard. It's just not usually my style of music. So.
Yeah, I'm not much of a rap person, but I've only heard good things about that album. I know a lot of people who don't like rap and have really sung the praises of it, but I haven't listened to it myself.
Nice life sheet.
Yeah, I actually have one of his older albums. Not that old, but a couple years old. I already forget the name. Is it Late Registration? I think that's the album I have, which I think is a good album. So I wouldn't say I'm a Kanye fan, but I appreciate Kanye. I can appreciate it.
Fair enough. Oh man, 2 players shuffling up diligently. Now things are starting to get a little more serious.
I'm not really sure. I just got like a pop-up over here. I'm like, what is it?
Man, to all you listeners at home, tell us about what you think about who's the favorite in this matchup. I mean, obviously the players have their opinions. Kibler, we talked to him yesterday. He feels pretty good about the matchup. Bertoncini says he feels pretty good about the matchup. So, who do you think has the edge here?
Yeah, Kibler was saying last night how he hadn't played against Rug much before the tournament, but I think he said he played against it once on Moto. They didn't really test against it for Worlds, and the next 2 matches he played against Rug were in the tournament yesterday, and he won them pretty handily, he said. So he feels like he's confident in his matchup against Rug. So I believe, what did he say, that without Lotus Cobra, it's kind of just like a bad red-blue deck.
Right, it's just like a slow deck, like they're going to have to cast their threats on pace. And in some cases, Kibler, as we see yesterday, can just race them.
Mm-hmm.
But if they have the Cobra, that's when things can start going downhill. They're like turn 2 Cobra, turn 3 fetch land, and things just get out of hand. But if he has these sideboard ousts that have been so good for him, if he just ousts a Cobra,
yeah,
then, it puts it back later when they don't even want to draw it anymore. It won't accelerate them that much.
Right.
We get to go?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Players are shuffling up diligently.
Yeah,
Ready to make sure none of them gets mana screwed. So naturally, I'm sure they'll both mulligan to 5.
Right.
But
we saw that yesterday from Bertoncini, the mulligan to 5. It was now we were talking about it this morning, but we forgot the preordain. It was 4 lands preordain. It was his opening hand.
Yeah.
And he played the preordain, put 2 lands on the bottom, and
for another land.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for those guys who didn't tune in for the quarterfinals yesterday, Alex paired against mono red, like we said, and I mean, worst matchup, mulligans to 5 game 1, keeps 4 lands preordained, turn 1 preordains, sees 2 lands, ships them to the bottom, draws a land, his hand is 4 lands, untaps, draws explore. Well, okay, maybe we'll be getting somewhere here, and his opponent just doesn't have a very good draw, and Bertoncini just goes turn 5 Frost Titan, turn 6 Frost Titan, and that's all he needed.
Yeah. I mean, that's all. 2 consecutive Frost Titans are gonna be pretty good against any deck. But I mean, when the mono red player has 3 lands, a Spike Shot Elder, and a Basilisk Collar, that he can't target, he can't use the Spike Shot Elder ability on the Frost Titan because he doesn't have the extra 2 mana to pay.
So for those of you just joining us, just tuning in to watch this match, this is the Star City Games Open Series. I'm Gavin Burhe here with Joey Pasco, and we're watching the semifinals between Brian Kibler, featured on the left, playing his Ka-Go deck, 74 of the 75 cards in his premium article this week, and Alex Bertoncini playing his Rug deck that he's been playing diligently and is finally paying off. I mean, he's made top 8 of this event, made top 16 last week, and he really knows what he's doing with this thing. So if they're off to the races, Kibler won the roll, and he put a Colonnade, a favorite play on the day, and Island from Bertoncini's side.
Yeah, that Colonnade has been instrumental in so many of the wins that we've seen, where he's gone, play a Gideon, and then next turn activate Colonnade, turn Gideon into a guy. There goes half your life total. Put you on a 2-turn clock if you can't deal with it, and we saw it happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't join us yesterday, one of the things Kibler just kept talking about throughout the entire day, over and over and over again, is how important it is to just be fearless with this deck. A lot of the times, you just have to tap out on turn 5, tap out on turn 6, and just try and put a clock on them.
Right, and here he goes tapping out on turn 2 to get the, namesake of the deck, Squadron Hawk, or Squadron Clock.
Or Squadron Flock.
Squadron Flock.
Whatever we want to say.
Exactly. The Whittle Dragons.
Yeah, the tiniest of dragons, Voltron.
Right.
The Dragon Voltron, as it were. And yeah, see, here we are here, like, you could be leaving up Manly Commander, maybe trying to make Bertoncini play scared, but instead he's opting to tutor up some Hawks.
So he's going to put on some pressure. And that's the thing, if Bertoncini doesn't deal with that Squadron Hawk, it's going to keep getting in there. Because really, what does Bertoncini have as far as flyers in that deck? Nothing, right? There are no flyers in that.
No. And yeah, if you just apply some early pressure, I mean, see, there's the Cobra.
There's the Cobra, so let's see what Kibler does about it.
And that's what Kibler's scared about. That's the card. He's like, if they get their active Cobra, it can be a problem.
That's not very nice.
So what are we going to do to combat that?
So Kibler looks to be preordaining.
Oh, good play.
No.
Oh, you're journey.
It's in my sideboard, man. you just saw my deck list.
Oh yeah, you had 4 day judgments. 4 of them. I saw that.
I hear them talking about Kibler's deck list. He said, you saw my deck list.
Bertoncini made a comment about, man, I hope you, I think it was Sunblast Angel is what he said. And I hope you don't find your Sunblast Angel. And Kibler's like, nah, it's in my sideboard, dog.
7 main board.
No, I haven't.
9 main board? Oh yeah.
Is the audio okay with us talking so low?
It's a lot of planeswalkers.
Is the player volume off today? Is the player volume off today? Like, can they hear
Are the player mics on?
This is going to hit in the face.
Yes, sir.
Just wondering. So Kibler follows up the first Squadron Hawk with a second Squadron Hawk, and he also serves with the first. So
You found
the
reason
arena
for the
is starting to fill.
figured me out.
Yeah, players are starting to come in, getting their trade on, finishing up their decks for the Legacy Open. It's going to start just momentarily after this. Yeah, that's right. Just stay tuned to us. You'll see the semifinals, you'll see the finals, and then we'll go straight into the Legacy Open with round 1 feature matches.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch some Legacy. More excited than I thought I'd be. Even like, I'm just survival of the fittest being stripped from the format, and we've got a metagame which is basically a week old, right? Because we've really only seen one tournament
and
without survival.
Last week it was Goblins versus Merfolk. Let's see how the tribal decks fare again this week. But in the meantime, we've got the semifinal match, and we have a Lotus Cobra and then an Explore from Bertoncini, and he's thinking about which land he wants to play. And this is something he brought up yesterday, is how their land choices can really matter, and how by watching Michael Jacobs' videos this week, or last week, he really just learned a lot about wow, what lands should I be playing? When should I do this? When should you crack your fetch lands? And this is obviously very important here. He's like, well, I could play 2 fetch lands. I could get 6 mana off this. That's pretty insane. He could cast a Titan right here if he has one.
Yeah, that's what Lotus Cobra does, right?
That is pretty insane. Oh, but he's not. He's going to tap 2. Oh,
no, he's got a Jace.
That's all he's going to do.
That's all.
Just cast a Jace.
Just the most expensive card in Standard.
And not by mana cost.
No.
Now, fortunately for Kibler, those Squadron Hawks can do a number on that Jace.
Yeah, it's not so scary to see a Jace on the other side of the table when you've got 2 Squadron Hawks. Did Bertoncini, did he Fate Seal?
No, he just drew 3. He's thinking about which 2 to put back.
Okay.
He's obviously thinking hard about it. You see the game players have their serious faces on right now, but I mean the Jace is still kind of scary. It's going to get another activation at least, which is a huge issue.
Looks, he should be able to get 2 brainstorms out of it.
Right. And I mean, if Kibler has one, he's got to try and find a way to deal with that Lotus Cobra too before it gets out of control.
Right.
But we'll see if he has an answer. Squadron Hawk fortunately does fend off the Lotus Cobra from attacking, which is nice.
Right, but it's not attacking that. That's such a blowout on that Cobra. It's the ability to generate so much mana.
Yeah.
Just off of your land drops. Man, that card. Remember when it was previewed? When it was Flores that previewed Lotus Cobra, and there was such a division, of opinions, because some people like Flores, and I believe BDM were talking about how ridiculous the card was. And then other people saying, it's overrated, right? But I mean, that seems to happen with any card that's really big. You can also find people saying the same thing about Jace the Mind Sculptor last year. It's great when you look back at like one of the older episodes of the Magic Show from last year, where I think it's from Pro Tour San Diego, where Evan went around and interviewed the pro players about what they thought of Jace the Mind Sculptor, and it seems to me about I would say 7 out of 10 were saying, he's overrated, he's okay. But people like Kibler actually were raving about the card, and of course Patrick Chapin also raving about the card.
Yeah, and Lotus Cobra was one that didn't catch on immediately either. People thought it was legitimately overhyped. I mean, it came onto the scene and just dropped in price. Nobody played it. Showed up in like Conley's,
Magical Christmas Land.
Deck, yeah. And then finally, like Mythic came out, and the deck really just started to take off after Mythic.
It was right around the Rise of the Eldrazi. I remember at Grand Prix DC, that was one of the cards that that people were talking about. Kelly Reed saying, "Hey, grab your Lotus Cobras because this is going right back up."
I mean, you had Vengevines to play with it then too, which was huge.
So in the meantime, Kibler has the Squadron Flock Voltron assembled. All 4 Squadron Hawks in play.
Wow, and here comes Lotus Cobra.
Another Lotus Cobra for Bertoncini.
And some more Brainstorming. And that Brainstorm is so powerful for a deck like this. It just wants to find its threats and deploy them, because you can just find a like a Titan here or something like that and just start unloading on Kibler.
The interesting thing from Kibler's side of things right now is he's got all 4 Squadron Hawks, obviously. He can, if he wants, can swing into Jace with one of them and swing for 3 with the other. Although he may want to hold back one to block some Lotus Cobra damage, but he may not even need to do that. He may be comfortable letting, spending some of his life just to be able to take a chunk out of Bertoncini's life total.
And Bertoncini being very deliberate about his plays here, which is the hallmark of a good player, when they're thinking about what they're doing. Playing fast has its plays too, knowing how to play quickly, but when you're in the top 8 and everything matters, I mean, these are the times where you really have to play tightly and think about what you're doing.
Right.
And even in the top 8 of PTQs, a lot of players will rush through them, and you're in untimed rounds, hopefully, so you can slow down and make a decision. It's not stall, of course, but take a reasonable amount of time.
So did he just crack 2 fetches?
Yep, and he played one this turn too, so that'll give him. So he has 1 mana already. He's going to get 2 here, so he'll have 3. That'll go to 6. That's Titan mana.
Yeah.
So do we see Frost Titan make an appearance?
Frost Titan's not so frightening when you have 4 Squadron Hawks.
Well, I think it can still tap down lands.
It can tap down
which
lands,
is a little frightening.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for the sake of chump blocking or.
Just taps 1.
And
looks like. Whoa.
Plays. Wait.
Oh, there are 2 Lotus Cobras on the battlefield.
Yeah.
That was a problem. So he just cast Avenger of Zendikar with 2 mana untapped.
That's nuts. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how much mana he had, how many lands he had already played.
That's all I got for you.
Yeah, but two mana for each of those lands coming into play. So
yeah, wow. Yeah, I didn't catch the second Lotus Cobra. That's insane. Crack 2 fetch lands, and here's an Avenger of Zendikar. By the way, I still have 2 mana untapped in case I have mana leak in my hand.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do about it?
That's a pretty scary board position to be facing for Brian Kibler.
Those 4 Squadron Hawks no longer look quite as threatening.
Right, but they can, if he does decide that if he has some sort of removal as far as like Day of Judgment is concerned, and isn't afraid of the mana leak, he does have he can swing in with those Squadron Hawks, take out the Jace, do some damage to Bertoncini, and then wrath the board, and it'll be land on land, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely have to play the Day of Judgment if you have one. I mean, I think, or just some kind of way to get rid of that Avenger. I mean, the problem is that guy's just going to control the game.
I believe Kibler has 4 Day of Judgments in his main deck.
Yeah, I also believe this. And here comes the judge to put Rashad Miller onto the battlefield. And we're going to get some...
Make some room, Alex.
Yeah. And here comes Rashad. And so he only, in quotes, gets 5 tokens from the Avenger because of his fast start, but that's still plenty threatening. A fetch land next turn.
They're only O1s as well.
They're only O1s, but a fetch land next turn would quickly put them to be 2 3s, and then of course with the double Lotus Cobra, he could explode all over again with whatever's left in his hand. Once again, we see Kibler taking his time, and we've seen Kibler play very fast yesterday. Now he's in the top 4. He knows he really needs to take his time. Bertoncini's taking his time and thinking about what he's doing, and this is Kibler's opportunity. And this kind of harkens back to something we were talking about yesterday, where you kind of mimic your opponent's play style, right? If one of you's playing slow, well, it's tempting for both of you to play slow, right? Because you're like, oh, well, he's doing this. If both of you are playing fast, it's tempting for the other person to play fast. And you know, you really have to play at the pace that's comfortable for you, and a lot of players will just match their opponents and get messed up in the top 8 of PTQs or all kinds of major tournaments like that.
In the meantime, looks like Kibler has taken out Alex's Jace with a 1 Squadron Hawk, but has left his other 3 back to as potential blockers, and has played the Jace of his own for some brainstorming.
Yeah.
So this should help Kibler dig to some answers for the imposing board position of Alex Bertoncini right now.
And Alex didn't mana leak the Jace if he has one, which means
which kind of makes you think he didn't have the mana leak,
right? Or
possibly.
Or alternatively, could be like, well, maybe the Jace isn't that important right now. I've got this huge army. I would rather save it for Day of Judgment or something like that.
Yeah, he should. I mean, he can kill the Jace if he alpha strikes. If he goes all in.
I mean, presuming
if he has a land, assuming he has a land, yeah. But so far, no land, and he goes with an Oracle of Moldiah, which may get him a land. But no, there's the mana leak.
And he knows that it's there from the Jace last turn.
Right.
So he knew what he was setting up.
Additional land.
And once again, he's thinking about his plays. Oh, there's the land. That's a Misty Rainforest.
It looks like a Misty Rainforest.
Yep, that's a Misty Rainforest. That's going to make those tokens dangerous. So he gets 2 mana from the double Lotus Cobra. What an insane draw. Although yesterday we saw Brian Kibler's opponent in round 7. He went turn 2 Lotus Cobra, Valakut, or sorry, not turn 2 Lotus.
It was turn 2 Lotus Cobra, turn 3 Explore, and it was all, and that's all he did. He played a Harrow at some point in the game, and that was all he played. He had tons of mana.
And that start really framed Kibler. After he didn't have anything, it was just...
And Kibler took him out with the quick swing, Gideon Colonnade, 2 swings.
Right, and that was once again an example of...
I love Bertoncini's face and his expressions and what he does while he's playing when you get shots of him. He really shows his emotions on his face, and not even just his face, but his entire body language. He's just completely what am I gonna do? I have all this stuff, so many options.
You can tell he's just thinking.
Yeah, he was doing that yesterday in that crazy match that we were talking about that went to 49 minutes. In game 1, and you could see him completely slumped, and his hand on his face, and you could see it written on his face, should I be conceding right now? I really should be conceding right now, and he didn't, and he won, and so in the meantime,
it looks like he draws a Burst Lightning, and then finds another land. There's Oracle Moldiah could potentially play. And man, those Avenger of Zendikar tokens are gonna get big fast. Those are some angry planes.
Yeah. It's really, we're going to see. I mean, I would assume Alex wants to at least take out the Jace, and as well as a chunk of Kibler's life total, just because why leave Kibler with an active Jace to dig for an answer?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that Jace needs to go. Avenger's an interesting card we hadn't seen play for a while, and then with the Turbo Land decks that popped up, I think their big breakout event, first Ali Antrazi kind of showed what was going on, and
it was that may have been enough to finish Kibler without taking out the Jace, so I guess that's what it was.
Well, and Kibler also knew that Bertoncini had
Burst
But those cards were in my hand.
Right. Yeah.
So even though Kibler had double Day of Judgment and Spell Pierce in his hand, he couldn't do it. He was like, well, he's got all this mana untapped. It's just not going to work. That fetch land was just the card Bertoncini needed. And Bertoncini takes game 1 of the match. It's pretty exciting to see all this go down. I mean, that was a tight game played by 2 good players, and this match is just incredible.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Now, we talked to Kibler yesterday, and he's got the sideboard for this match. He's got the 2 Journeys. He's got 2 Oustes. He's also got Condemns, which I don't know that he would bring in, but they are another 1 casting cost spot removal. He's got so many plows, as he was saying.
Adam Prozac, is their match already finished? Adam Prozac won, beat Matt Ness 2-0.
Wow.
So looks like Adam Prozac picks up his semifinal match. It will be Adam Prozac in the finals of this tournament.
He's going to come over and watch his prospective opponents. So yeah, Kibler was saying, he's got so many plows in his sideboard. So he's got answers for the turn 2 Lotus Cobra in his sideboard. So we'll see what happens here. It'll be interesting to see what happens. If you're just joining us, this is Joey Pasco with SCG Live, bringing you live coverage of the San Jose Star City Games Open Series standard format. This is the semifinal matchup between Brian Kibler and Alex Bertoncini. They're going to Game 2. Sounds like the other semifinal matchup has already finished with Adam Prozac defeating Matt Ness 2-0.
Yeah, that must have been a quick bout. I can imagine after sideboarding, maybe Prozac draws some pyroclasms, deals with some threats, but for Matt Ness to lose, what's that?
That's
we're just talking about that. Yeah, and for Matt Ness to lose Game 1, Glenn, tell us what happened in that match.
Yeah, come on over, Glenn.
Glenn Jones was covering the match on on typing on his computer. It'll be up on StarCityGames.com, but we're gonna have a quick rundown. Come into the feed, Glenn. Welcome to the booth.
It was pretty one-sided almost the whole time. In the first game, Matt mulliganed and didn't have a mana producer on turn 1 and a turn 2 Copperhorn Scout. So obviously he wasn't really accelerating into anything.
Not so impressive.
Yeah, he had a Leatherback Bailiff to start the beats, but Prozac untapped with a Lotus Cobra, which is always bad. He pretty much just accelerated into a Frost Titan, that locked down the Bailiff, and he had 2 Lightning Bolts to kill any relevant plays, and Garrett from there was enough. Yeah. In the second game, it was just pretty rough the whole time. Matt started off with Lano Elves and then Fauna Shaman. Adam had the Pyroclasm. Matt missed his 3rd land drop and just played an Arbor Elf. Prozac bolted that, and the next Fauna Shaman never actually activated because Garrick on the previous turn enabled a Avenger of Zendikar on 5 lands with Cobra out for an Explorer.
Oh my gosh,
and the game was just over from there.
Yeah. Avenger of Zendikar, what a card. You saw that take the match away from Kibler too.
Yeah.
The match really seems dependent on Lotus Cobra, Elves versus Rug. If they don't have a Lotus Cobra, I imagine they just get bashed over and over probably. But
that's what Kibler said.
The Lotus Cobra, so
I gotta say, watching this match, it seems like every Rug match depends on Lotus Cobra. If they have that Cobra on turn 2, their starts are just so explosive, so powerful. But without it, they really are reduced to all right, well, I'll cast my Titan on turn 5. Maybe that's good enough, but probably not.
Yeah, the deck's favorable matchups definitely seem to be games in which it draws Lotus Cobra and games in which it does not.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Well, there you go. So Adam Prozac will be in the finals with Rug. Will he meet another Rug opponent, Alex Bertoncini, or will he have to fight against Kago by Brian Kibler as take on the deck? Well, we'll find out. Bertoncini is up a game here, but a lot could happen. Kibler's got the sideboard for this matchup. He's got some ways to deal with the Lotus Cobra, so it should be pretty exciting to see how it goes. They sideboarded, took their time sideboarding, thought about what they were doing, and I'm sure Kibler's going to be looking for an early oust or Journey to Nowhere against that Lotus Cobra for this matchup.
Yeah, like Kibler was saying, if he takes care of that, suddenly the deck, it just loses so much of its power off of no Lotus Cobra, depending on whether or not Kibler can take advantage of that tempo loss. If he can take out a Lotus Cobra and then capitalize on it, that's what's important. Because if he just gives Bertoncini time to get into the game after the Lotus Cobra, Bertoncini will be able to take him out. So.
Yeah, the matchup, Lotus Cobra seems to be the make or break thing here. We'll see if Bertoncini is able to lay one on turn 2. Otherwise, you could see us headed for a Game 3. The thing is some decks, like, a turn 5 Titan is still pretty good, but Kibler's been playing his deck so aggressively that, if he just goes turn 5 Gideon, turn 6 Colonnaded Attack, that can beat, a draw that's pretty fast with Frost Titan or anything similar.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by he has to make sure he capitalizes on any sort of window he gets if he manages to oust a Cobra. I mean, this is assuming Bertoncini even has the turn 2 Cobra.
Right, of course. And if he doesn't, it could be rough times for him. Maybe he'll mulligan until he hits it. We don't know.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the event's starting to fill up for the Legacy side of the Open, and it should be pretty exciting to see what kind of decks are featured. There's all kinds of cool innovations coming out of the format now that Survival's gone. Last week, we saw 2 old standbys in the finals, Goblins and Merfolk, with Goblins eventually taking it down. What will it be this week? Will it be another tribal deck? Will it be counterbalance? Will it be a new combo deck with Time Spiral? There's just so many different options for this format. A lot of players are really excited about it. Adam Prozac, and not even watching the semifinal matchup, doesn't want to come to the booth. He's over there writing down his deck list and figuring out the last little bit for his legacy cards.
He's got the finals to play, and he's getting ready for another tournament, entirely.
Yesterday we talked to Adam multiple times, and every time he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I really just came here for the legacy tournament. I guess I'll make top 8 of the standard one."
He's like, "I'll play the standard tournament to kill time until the legacy open, right?"
I just want to play legacy. So if this is his idea of killing time, I gotta say he's probably got it made. He sounded pretty excited about his legacy deck. He said he's probably just going to play counterbalance deck, but he's got some cool innovations with it too. So we'll see what he ends up doing.
He's absolutely playing Jace, because that was all he said. He's like, I just want to play Jace. I just want to play Jace in every format.
So it doesn't matter what Jace deck I play as long as I'm playing Jace. He said, to quote, "I'm done playing non-Jace decks."
Yeah.
It's like you play Cryptic Command for a little while, and or without Cryptic Command, you're like, wow, these Cryptic Commands are really good. Same thing with Jace. You put him in your decks, and he starts winning games for you.
Yeah, it's going to be so sad in the fall when Jace rotates.
Still be good and extended.
He
and
will,
legacy.
yeah. It's just he rotates from standard, and it's one of those cards that is just so great that its presence is really going to, or its absence, more appropriately, is really going to be felt.
Yeah, and like we were talking about yesterday, I think it's great that they could print a card that I know a lot of people don't like Jace, how it's expensive, how it's played all the way, in all these different decks. But at the end of the day, I think it's awesome how they printed a card that isn't broken, isn't a combo piece, isn't some big discard spell. It just gets played in all these decks all the way back to Legacy.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, it looks like our match has started. Kibler once again leads on his Celestial Colonnade, and Bertoncini just passes back.
With a mountain in play, nice beta mountain.
Yeah, we've seen some nice lands over these past 2 days. Pro tip for all you guys at home: if you want to be good, get nice-looking lands.
Right, pretty lands. That's
pretty lands.
There's the turn 2
Cobra,
and there's the mana leak for it. Yeah, this time he says no Squadron Hawk on turn 2. I'm gonna leave mana leak open this time, and now Squadron Hawk maybe no Spreading Seas. I was just
locks down that green source, hopefully denying future Lotus Cobras from entering the battlefield.
Yeah. So let's see what happens here.
Raging Ravine just passes back. This is giving Kibler the window he was hoping for.
Absolutely.
Like we said, without that Lotus Cobra, the deck is just so much slower. Kibler will have time to do exactly what he wants to do.
And what he wants to do this turn is preordain.
Dig a little deeper, see what we can find.
Yeah.
It's I mean, with 3 mana, Bertoncini can, maybe lay an Oracle, will die next turn, potentially lay a Jace next turn, but even then, Kibler can have the answers to those. It's just the quick 2-1 that accelerates the mana that's the big issue, because it lets him deploy all of his threats quickly.
He did just play a Tectonic Edge, so he can take out that Raging Ravine as soon as Bertoncini lays a 4th land. It'll still give Bertoncini an opportunity to use the green mana this turn, but if Bertoncini does not have another green source, Kibler has the option of denying him of green mana.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously needs the green to operate. He's Spreading Seas down that first green source. Okay, and that's a Scalding Tarn, looks like.
Okay, not a green source.
Puts it straight into the graveyard. Make sure that no Tectonic Edge shenanigans occur. And maybe we'll see an Oracle Moldiah this turn, or potentially Jace. He got the second island.
Yeah. He must have announced the Jace, and Kibler has the
Kibler's showing the Spell Pierce.
Spell Pierce.
There we go.
It's kind of funny to see the Spell Pierce before the spell being pierced, right?
That would have been a pretty sick play by Bertoncini if he had just been like, just kidding.
Yeah. Right. I was only kidding about playing.
It's kind of like when you cast Medallion Click and your opponent just flops down their hand.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I was targeting myself.
Right.
But
thanks for you write their whole hand down and be like, I'm targeting myself.
You might not want to do that. Martin Uza might have got disqualified.
Yeah.
But
So Kibler's side of the board.
Another spreading seas locks down Bertoncini's other green source.
Yeah,
Instead of a tectonic edge, he's like, nope, I'm just going to send you to the island.
And that tectonic edge can, if he'd like, can take out the Copperline Ridge, I think.
Copperline Gorge. And
Gorge,
I get rid of the green mana right there again.
All right, so Bertoncini's going to be having some trouble getting green mana. I mean, if Kibler wants to deny him the green source, he has the option right now. There he goes.
There it is. And all of his major threats require double green except for the Frost Titan. So, and yeah, there's just another Colonnade. And maybe next turn we'll see Kibler get in with his Colonnade. He likes to be aggressive in this matchup, but I'm sure maybe he's got some action in his hand too. Maybe we'll see some Squadron Hawks enter the fray.
Yeah, he could play multiples if he'd like.
Indeed. Oh, and there goes Arid Mesa.
Yeah.
So that'll bring him up to 5 mana. Shovels those nice Ascension sleeves. Those are definitely pretty slick sleeves. They look great.
I sleeved up my Ascension game in those sleeves, but I haven't actually used them for Magic.
Oh,
so
yep, and there he
goes. I love it. He's like, I'm gonna throw this at you.
Like I said, Kibler's just been fearless. He's like, you know what? I can leave all this mana untapped like most control players would do. Nope, I'm just gonna nug you for 4, nug you for 4, nug you for 4. You're under spreading seas. You're under tectonic edge. Well, I got some time. Let's get in some damage.
We've seen 3 green sources on Bertoncini's side get taken out. And there's the Frost Titan, which is, like you said, the one threat that does not require the.
And it locks down that Celestial Colonnade. So I'm going to see if Kibler has an answer to that Titan. Maybe we'll see a Day of Judgment. Here, with all the green sources locked down, it's totally acceptable to just cast a Day and wipe away that Frost Titan.
No open mana on Bertoncini's side for any sort of mana leak shenanigans. But I don't know if mana leak is really shenanigans. It's just a pretty standard counterspell.
Yeah, but we don't know what's in Kibler's hand, and we'll see what he opts to do. Oh, he chooses to
Journey to Nowhere.
Send it to a journey, paying the 2 extra to make sure that Titan does in fact
work.
Go to nowhere.
That pays just as much as a Day of Judgment would cost, but manages to preserve a Day of Judgment for later. And
here comes the
Colonnade.
Once again, just fearless.
Right. How quick was Bertoncini's turn? He just untapped and passed. There's a mana leak.
There's a mana leak on that preordain.
Yeah.
Doesn't want Kibler digging any deeper than he has right now. He's already done quite a bit of damage. And Halimar adapts from Bertoncini will maybe dig him a little bit, but that's not going to work so well.
It passes the turn, Kibler untaps.
Colonnade's probably going to come in again.
Yeah, let's see. Yep,
here it comes.
Right? It's like, I'm attacking with my Seachrome Coast. Wait, wrong card. Colonnade.
Right,
there's a preordain. He does the same. Mana leak. It was the exact same situation as last.
Now he's just down 4 life.
Yeah.
And Bertoncini finds preordain. Probably he just puts the 2 cards on the bottom. He knows
what they were. Yeah.
Don't need those ones.
Here comes a Mind Sculptor.
Yep, Mind Sculptor down.
And he,
Interesting. I mean, how good is that Mind Sculptor right now? I mean, yeah, he can dig a little bit, but he's sitting on 5 life.
Yeah. It's, those fetch lands are going to be, he's not going to be able to use any of his fetch lands that are so instrumental, so helpful during, or in the rug deck.
And so Bertoncini chooses to Fate Seal himself with the Jace, putting the card on the bottom, so it goes up to 5 loyalty and can't be ticked down by the Colonnade. So he'll get another look at some cards, maybe find a Frost Titan to lock down something down. But nope. And he just picks him up.
Have your spreading seas back,
game
and
3.
Let's go to game 3. Yeah. So, for those of you just joining us, this is Joey Pasco with SCG Live, bringing you live coverage of the San Jose Standard Open Series. This is the semifinals. I'm here with Gavin Verhey. We're watching Brian Kibler and Alex Bertoncini, each tied at 1 game, going to game 3, doing some sideboarding. We've already got a result from the other semifinal match, which was Matt Nass and Adam Prosak. Adam Prosak won that match 2-0 over Matt Nass's Elves deck. It was a pretty quick match. I believe the match finished before or at the same time as game 1 of this particular match. So it was just some quick beatings, and we've seen a wide variety of times in these matches. That sounds like a strange thing to say, but we've seen a game go 49 minutes, and we've also seen an entire match go in roughly 10 minutes yesterday. It's kind of crazy, and both of those that I'm referring to had Alex Bertoncini and his rug deck. So we've also seen some really quick games or quick matches from Kibler, who he's playing a control deck, but normally you expect these control decks to be kind of slower. But Kibler is playing a deck that has the option of kind of playing the control. The slower control role, but he prefers and believes it's right to play the deck way more aggressively than the typical kind of control deck. He's got the Squadron Hawks to put on some pressure, and he also has the option of playing Gideon alongside Celestial Colonnade to take you out in 2 swings if you can't deal with it. And that's something we've seen multiple times throughout the tournament. Gideon being an instrumental card in this deck. Another card that Kibler is really impressed with is Elspeth Tyrell from Scars of Mirrodin. Is Bertoncini laying out his legacy deck over here?
So Kibler had to. Looks like Kibler's taking a quick break, maybe to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And Bertoncini as well, like, all right, time to start registering my legacy deck.
Yeah. Guess I'll look at legacy. Yes. Are those Pyroblast? What is
that? Yeah, and you know.
Whoa! That's not Murphy.
Not at all. That was Glenn Jones.
Yeah.
That must be someone else's deck.
Or maybe he was looking at someone else's deck for advice.
That's the cards he's loading out. No, that's what it is. Yeah.
He's sideboarding from a legacy deck. What's going on?
I mean, Pyroblast seems pretty awesome in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll handle Colonnade, that's for sure.
Exactly.
And Kibler's back on his way over.
All right.
Yep, Kibler's back. Whatever he was busy doing, and now he goes to his board. Alex Bertoncini hoping to shuffle up some legacy action shortly, but he's got to finish this match first, and I know he wants to get through to the finals. He's going to be on the play this game, and that might give his Lotus Cobras the edge he needs on the play that can't be mana leaked, so Kibler has to be able to oust or Journey to Nowhere it if he wants to keep the critical 2-1 off the board.
Yeah, we saw him take care of the Lotus Cobra last game with a mana leak, but we do know he has those ousts and those journeys, so those are the relevant cards against the Lotus Cobra in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, oust is just a great answer, because like he said yesterday, you put it 2 cards deep, and then when they draw it, they don't even want it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not just killing the creature, but really just sets them back because they have to waste a draw on this Lotus Cobra. And it's also just great on a number of other threats, right? You can send a Titan 2 cards back, which is often all you need sometimes. Sending Avenger 2 cards back usually isn't optimal, but it's I guess it could be a play you could do sometimes.
Yeah, it's an option if that seems like it would help you survive.
So yeah, the players shuffle diligently. This is it. Going to game 3, everything's on the line. Going to the finals. I get winner here faces Adam Prozac with his rug deck in the finals. We've talked to Adam several times yesterday, and the big innovations he made to the rug deck was the added Garrick Wildspeaker, which he has just sung the praises of all weekend long. He said the card has been great for him, way better than Oracle Moldiah, still untaps your lands, gives you 3/3s, you can overrun with your Titans or Avenger of Zendikar. It's just been awesome.
It's also worth noting Tom Rainey, the rug player he dispatched in the quarterfinals, was also playing Garrick.
Yep, and Alex also has one Garrick in his deck as well. He said he didn't have enough time to test it out, but I said the inspiration came from Michael Jacobs' video series on Premium, and you can go check those out on StarCityGames.com. But in the meantime, looks like the players are going to present here, and we're going to see who... oh, no. Kibler goes back to shuffling. Does not want to get mana screwed. He knows he needs to have his removal pretty evenly dispersed if he wants to make sure he has one for that Lotus Cobra. But yeah, so in the finals it'll be Prozac against the winner here, and the other big innovation Prozac made, like I was saying, is he added in some threat diversity. He's got a mixture of Avenger of Zendikar and Frost Titan, and what was the other major threat he had, Joey? There's a fourth one.
Oh, does he have Inferno Titan in there?
Prozac has an Inferno Titan.
Yeah, and Prozac,
okay.
Prozac has one Inferno Titan. So he diversified his threats a little bit. And yeah, it just gives them more options. Like when you get to turn 6 or turn 7, a lot of the time, any of your big threats are just going to win you the game, right? You're going to slam down your Titan, you're going to slam down your Avenger, and the game is just going to be over. But every now and then you'll play against something like Vampires, where you're like, well, I wish I had an Avenger instead so I could play it, get all these chump blockers, and so you just have those options if you draw 2 of them, you know?
Right. Another relevant thing is Memoricide is being played in blue-black sideboards, and having a diversification of your threats is relevant, because for a long time a lot of these ramp decks were pretty much just playing Primeval Titan, and we've even seen Valakut decks whose main threat is just 4 Primeval Titan, and if they get taken away, stripped out of the deck, the deck really has no really good way to win. So I think these rug lists have the option of playing 3 different color Titans. And not to mention if they feel like playing Wormcoil Engine, although we haven't seen any of those in these lists. But, we've got Avenger, we've got Primeval Titan as a possibility, although...
How do you feel about Memoricide as a card?
I don't know. I mean, Cranial Extraction always seemed good, but it's... it feels good when you resolve it and, or actually, here's what it is. It feels terrible when someone resolves it against you and they take away something, and you're so demoralized, kind of, because you're like, wow, that's usually, obviously, I'm assuming they take a card that you feel is relevant as well. If they take a card that you're like, well, that's not even relevant in this matchup, you feel pretty good. But it's strange because I've been on the side of the player casting Memoricide, and you strip away like a major threat, and then they just draw their one of Avenger of Zendikar and beat you, and you're like, great, I took away his Frost Titans, his main threat, and he still top decked the one of kind of thing, and you're like, well, that just helped him get to the one of quicker.
Well, I feel like cards like Extraction and Memoricide are very overrated, and we'll pose that to you in the Twitter feed. You can respond and let us know what you think. In the meantime, this match is getting underway between Kibler and Bertoncini. They're going to Game 3, and Bertoncini is on the play. For you guys just joining us, this is the Star City Games Open Series Standard half of the event. We're here in San Jose, California, and I'm Gavin Verhey, joined by Joey Pasco, and this is the semifinals. The winner is going to go out to face Adam Prozac with a rug in the finals. The loser, still a lot of money, still a lot of open points, but not quite the championship they were looking for. So it looks like Kibler once again has the tapped colonnade, which has just been such an all-star for him. And there's the Lotus Cobra from Bertoncini.
So does Kibler have an answer?
Does Kibler have an answer? We're going to find out.
Let's see.
Well, he hasn't slammed one onto the table yet.
Right, well, he's also looking... So he plays with planes and passes the turn.
Passes back. Lotus Cobra gets to untap. Now, he doesn't leave the ominous 2 mana untapped in case he might have a mana leak, but it's hard to say for sure. And Bertoncini's trying to figure out, well, what's my play now? He didn't get rid of my Lotus Cobra. What am I going to do? He's going to have access to 5 mana this turn from that fetch land, and that's such an explosive start for a deck like this.
So Bertoncini cracks the Misty Rainforest, gets an island.
And now he's thinking, well, what are we doing now? What's our next play? Number of threats he could play: Oracle, Moldiah, Jace the Mind Sculptor.
If you're looking to draft, please register in the back corner with Ricky.
Goes with an Oracle, and wow, Spell Pierce from Bertoncini.
I believe he had just two Spell Pierces in the sideboard, and this is looking bad for Kibler.
Yeah, Kibler has had 2 turns.
And there's the journey. Just drew.
Well.
He can journey this Oracle, or maybe the Cobra? No, the Oracle, yeah.
He's trying to
figure it out.
I feel like Oracle's probably right.
I mean, the thing is 6 mana is a crucial number, and he can still get to 6 with that Oracle next turn. So I feel like you need to kill the Oracle, but it is definitely a tough choice.
I think Oracle's the more dangerous at this point.
I think Oracle is likely more dangerous, because this is turn 5, like Kibler said. Lotus Cobra isn't all that threatening at this point in the game.
Then again, he is leaning rather heavily on Spell Pierce to defend himself from a Planeswalker, so maybe the best play is just to hope you get lucky.
Oh, yeah, and he goes with the Oracle, and I've got to figure out what the play is, and here comes Frost Titan.
That is not Spell Pierce.
Frost Titan, yeah. Taps down Kibler's Colonnade. It is not looking good for Kibler right now.
Yeah, I mean, Kibler really needed that journey so bad on the second turn.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't there. It was one draw step away.
Now he's got lands and spell pierce. Like, that's probably going to be lights out in just a couple of turns.
Bertoncini's still thinking through. We've seen him be very deliberate about his plays all weekend. He makes sure he doesn't want to mess up. He's like, all right, I'm going to do this and this and this, and figure out what the best course of action is. And just halves his life. He'll goes from 16 to 8. And he's going to go on an adventure, do some exploring.
And then land Jace, I imagine, is the play here. Unless he has counter magic for the day of judgment, which I don't believe he has.
No. There's a spell pierce from Kibler.
Oh, and so that takes down the Jace, and if we see a day here, that could really swing the game around. The question is, does Kibler have it?
He doesn't have it in his hand.
And he has to have land as well.
In his hands right now as he shuffles.
Just always in this turn, huh?
It's going to be an important turn. If he does draw the day on this turn, it will definitely put him right back in this game. Alex will get to untap and play whatever, but Kibler will be able to untap.
I don't have anything, man.
All right. Well, he's shuffling. It's a pretty faithful turn. Let's see what he's got. Bertoncini cuts. And let's see what's on top of the deck. Is it going to be there? Is it going to be? Oh, and that's match.
Wow.
Alex Bertoncini goes to the finals against Adam Prozac. We will have a Rug v. Rug finals. This is the deck I've been talking about all week, and there are 4 in the top 8. It seemed like the week to play it. It's been rising up through the ranks after kind of it declined.